Okay, so episode 4 was so good. I was okay. Oh my goodness. That was a really bad opening, but oh my god, you guys, this episode was insane. I went on that IMDb app afterwards, and this episode got a 9.5 out of 10. I was so blown away by this episode. In honor of our first Malik meeting, I tried to do this because I noticed that Alec had his rune like in this area at some point in the show, and I also tried to put on this eyeshadow that I have and that I never ever use, that has like the tiniest bit of glitter to represent Magnus, but you can't see it like at all. So this is just gonna be like, look at my stuff on me. But I also tried to like do a braid like Izzy had at the beginning of the episode, but I can't braid my hair for anything, so that happened. All right, so let's just get right into it. All right, so the first scene, we open up. Clary is on her bed, freaking out, having a dream, and she wakes up and Jace is there. And I swear, if she has like the dreamiest eyes, and like I blush when I see him on screen. Like, can you imagine like interviewers and people that are talking to him? Because he looks at people very intensely. Like, have you seen that in his interviews? Dom just looks at people very intensely, like I said, and it's just very dreamy, and I just turn into a pile of mush every time. But anyways, so then it turns out that it's not Jace, it's actually Simon, and he's trying to coax her back and then whatever. And then you know how in the book they go to Silent Brothers, and they're the one who uncover Magnus Bane from her memory, and we know that that didn't happen that way. And so Simon was the one that actually told her about Magnus Bane. And then we pan out of the bedroom, and then Jace looks like he was gonna come and talk to Clary. And so we like pan up his body, and we get a nice little shot of his bicep. I appreciated that. Okay, so before I continue on with whatever, I read a little bit, like 100 pages of the book yesterday. Just like, I wasn't planning on it, but I wanted to read to see what the like first meeting of Malik was before I watched it. And it was different, so I'll get to that in a minute. And by the way, whenever I say something like I refer to the book, I'm not saying that like I'm not complaining. I'm just stating the differences and how like each one is great and which one was better and just whatever. So just don't think that I'm like comparing badly. Okay, so then right after that scene, we get a little bit more of Simon, and he looks in that mirror and he sees the blood, and then he sees Camille, and so he's transitioning, or he's like getting the side effects or whatever for his vampireness, which I am so excited about. So a whole bunch of hints throughout this entire episode. Every single episode with Simon, except for the one when he was like fighting with Clary, was about like his vampireness. And so the beginning with Camille, and then later on when Maureen comes, which I'll talk to in a second because that was an interesting scene, and he tastes the blood, and then he goes back to Hotel Dumont, whatever it's called. So the scene right after that is the Clary and Jace scene that we got in the sneak peek last week or whatever. And what's it called? I was watching this episode with my mom, and she got kind of into it. Oh, and I got my brother to read the books. He's my little 14-year-old brother, and I got him to read it, and he's like halfway done with the first book, and he really likes it, so I am amazing. Anyways, okay, so that scene with Jace training, and I'm watching, my mom's like looking at me, she's like, stop drooling. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but Dom, Jace, whatever, he's gorgeous. So, alright, so then they have their little banter, their talk, or whatever they're talking about. And then, Izzy comes in. She looked really good in that scene, too. She looked good throughout this entire episode. She looks good always. But, I like that her hair thing that she had going on, it like came in here and then disappeared and then came out in the back. That was kind of cool. This is what I tried to replicate. Didn't really work out. But yeah, she's like, oh, the Mundies escaping or trying to leave or whatever. And so I was so, because I don't remember, Clary and Simon, they don't really fight very often, but they like kind of had it out before Simon left. And I was kind of surprised that they did that, not in a bad way. I liked it because in the book Simon never wants to leave Clary like ever, like at all. And so but I like that he left to show that, you know, he has other responsibilities. He has his mom, who we saw later, which I thought was kind of cool, and his sister, and Maureen, who's, you know, this other character, and or the new character that they changed, and so I like that they included that to show that there was still a world outside of the Shadowhunter world that Clary has kind of not dragged Simon into, but that he kind of dragged himself into when he went with Clary. Oh my god, though, and Simon, I laughed so hard. He was trying to be really tough, and it was just really not working, and he's like, oh, you don't get to tell me anything, Captain America. And then I was like, oh, Captain America, just my favorite Marvel character. Just speaking of Marvel, dude. Okay. And I was still laughing the inside. I felt bad for laughing because it was just honestly kind of funny when he's like, come at me, bro. And I'm like, oh, sweetie, no, you'd lose. All right, so then that happens, and then he leaves, and then we get a scene with a squad. The whole squad, they're all so hot. Like, it's just like, I feel so inadequate watching them and being like, they're so beautiful. So yeah, it's Clary and Jace and Alec and Izzy and Hodge, and they are talking about Magnus, and then he starts putting all the pictures on the big screen of Magnus like throughout the years. I thought that was hilarious, and I kind of wanted a little bit more of a close-up of some of those pictures. There was one on Instagram that was funny where he was holding a cord for like an iPod or iPhone, whatever. I thought that was a good touch. That was funny. I'm realizing that you're like not gonna really be able to see this unless I'm talking like this, which is not gonna happen. Oh, and then I really liked that the line that they had Izzy put in was like, oh, David Guetta is a vampire. Have you ever seen him during the daytime? That was a nice touch. That was a nice modern touch. So this was the part that I was reading last night. Last night I read the book from right after the Silent Brothers to right after they get out of Magnus's party. So that chunk of book, whatever it was. And also Izzy's comment about somebody, I don't know if she said somebody needs to get laid or somebody needs to get slayed. I don't know if I heard it correctly, but that was again towards Alec, and again, hinting, hilarious. I love it. All right, so one big thing that they changed, well, not really, they didn't really change it, was the necklace. This, you know, from the books, it's Magnus gives it to Camille. Camille gives it back to Magnus. Magnus gives it to Will, to Cicely, and all the way down the Lightwood line or whatever. And so Izzy just has that. It was an heirloom that her mom gave down to her. And so she was, in the book, she just had that. But in the show, they're doing it, they did it kind of the same. Like the Lightwoods had it all throughout the years, but it wasn't like Izzy's per se. So then Hodge was like, oh yeah, this necklace is something that Magnus would really want. So they used it to lure him out of that, like, I was gonna say Magnus lair, the warlock, like where they were all hiding. And so, I like that. That was a good, addition to the plot, like to get him out, because how else were they gonna do it? Because in this, they weren't doing it that Magnus was having a party, they were just having a downworlder rave, and so Magnus was gonna be there instead of Magnus hosting a party at his house. And I also really like that they talked about the Magnus and Camille thing, because we didn't know that until now, and I really like how well, for one, they showed Magnus's bisexuality, so that's, you know, great, of course. And so I just like that they mentioned it so that we could just know more about Magnus and Camille and whatever. Alright, so sorry if this looks a little bit different. My phone stopped recording for some reason, so I'm using my actual camera. So I'm hoping that I'm in frame. Okay. So yeah, then there's that scene, and then Clary puts on that tight black dress that Izzy gives her, and Jace walks in, and we have a little Clace moment where they're kind of like checking each other out. And again, Dom looks amazing with his all black and his like kind of skinny jeans, and then that shirt that was like rolled up to here. My mom's like, stop drooling. I'm like, I can't. Alright, so then right after that is when we switch to our first like big scene with Magnus, where he has like his own scene to himself, and he's talking to Elias, that other warlock with the things coming out of his forehead. And I really like that interaction between Magnus and that Zoe girl, the child warlock. I thought that was really cute. Okay, and Magnus had the funniest lines throughout this entire episode. Simon was on the back burner for being the funny one because Magnus was just shining all over the place. He says, I was alive when the Dead Sea was feeling a little poorly. I'm like, oh, Magnus, oh, Harry, he's doing such an amazing job, you guys. I cannot. Okay, and then perhaps the part that literally had me at the edge of my seat and I was not breathing for like a good 5-10 seconds was when he just casually mentioned Tessa. I about freaked out, like a lot. My mom's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, he just mentioned Tessa. She's like, who's that? I'm like, who's that? Excuse me, that is the main character from the Infernal Devices, and a certain somebody's like great whatever, however many great grandmothers. Like, are you kidding me? They're just gonna casually mention her name in the 4th episode of the 1st season. What does this mean? Okay, let me catch my breath here because I freaked out. I'm freaking out right now. So I don't know if any of you guys watched The Walking Dead. That is like my favorite show ever. It goes like Walking Dead, Supernatural. Haven't caught up on Supernatural in a while and I feel kind of bad. And then like Shadowhunters, those three are like my main homies for TV shows. I love them. But The Walking Dead is just, I just adore it. Anyways, so there's this other show that just finished its first season called the Fear the Walking Dead, and if you guys have heard or seen that, it's amazing. I recommend it. And it's in the Walking Dead universe, but it takes place at the very beginning of the zombie apocalypse. So yeah, like I was saying, in Fear the Walking Dead, we get a glimpse of what it was like in the past. So I was thinking, what if they pull a Fear the Walking Dead on a Shadowhunters version, and maybe like 2 or 3 seasons down the road, hopefully, they start the Infernal Devices show, like, as the Mortal Instruments show as Shadowhunters is going on, so that by the time we get to the 6th or 5th or whatever season of Shadowhunters, we already know, and then Tessa will come along, and then you guys, I was thinking this in my head yesterday and I was flipping out. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. Okay, moving on before I like overheat myself. So I really also love the Izzy and Alex scene before they went out to the party. They kind of showed a little bit more of a serious side of Izzy, when she was talking to Alex. She wasn't like all flirty and smiling and everything. So I really like that. I'm really excited to see Izzy more serious, not because of anything, just because I want to see that side of her eventually. And again and again, and she keeps hinting at Alec, and she keeps wanting him to like just be happy within himself, and you can totally tell, and it's just like, ugh. And also in that scene, Alec or Matt was really working that jean shirt. That was nice. Okay, so then right after that, we go to the scene with Simon and Maureen, and Simon is in his bedroom, and he walks in. He, you know, the light, he's like, hi, Dracula, or whatever. I don't know what that was. And he puts the shades down so the sun doesn't come in, and he's like just laying down. He takes off his glasses, because if you remember, he doesn't need them anymore when he becomes a vampire. And then he like lays down for a second, and Maureen comes in, and she's like, you know, yelling at him. Well, not yelling at him, but she's like, well, what happened, dude? Like, where were you, whatever. And they talk or whatever, and then she's like, I want to date you, like, since you're not dating Clary, I want to. And I was like, oh my god, it's happening. I was wondering when they were gonna do that. And so Simon is just really taken back when she says that, and she's just like, oh god, never mind. And she walks out and like breaks the glass in the picture with Clary and Simon, and she, you know, blood comes out. So before I get to that, I'm just really liking Maureen's character so far. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with her. And now that they've talked about her wanting to be with Simon, so let's see what they're gonna do with that, because he was just not feeling it right then and there, because he, you know, he's transitioning. Oh, and then Simon's mom came in, and to me, for like a quick second, she looked a lot like Captain Vargas, Luke's captain, so I almost thought that they were the same person, but they're not. So that was just something I noticed. But yeah, so Maureen leaves, and then Simon like sees the blood and he tastes it. I'm like, ew, Simon. Alright, so then right after that, I'm noticing that my videos are like just me telling you exactly what happened in the show. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, so right after that, they go to the line for the Hardtail Club, and they're all just squad goals, man, all looking pretty fine. And I liked what Izzy and Clary were saying. She's like, oh, do you think red is my color? And Clary's like, oh, girl, with the body like yours, every color is your color. I'm like, oh, I love you guys. Because like I said, I was rereading the book, and like they seriously like don't really like each other for a minute in the book, and Clary doesn't like her at all, actually. And so I'm just so happy again that they're making them like really good friends. Like, girl power, you guys. Oh, speaking about that, before I continue, I kind of ranted on Tumblr the other day, and like I had just, because I was watching videos, I think I just put up mine or something, and I had seen a video with a lot of negativity and a lot of just bringing the other fans down, bringing the actors down, and it really pissed me off. So I like ranted on Tumblr, the longest post that you've ever seen. But yeah, apparently a lot of people like were happy that I made that, so I'll link that down below if you want to see my rant, because a lot of people actually responded to me saying like, thanks for saying that. So I'll post that down below, because I really don't feel like talking to the haters anymore. Either like the show get out of here. So yeah, anyways, like I said, if you want to see that, I'll link it down below because yeah, I was gonna make a video, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna waste my time on that because why would I? So yeah, moving on. Okay, so then we get into the club, and again, this was different than the book, and I'm gonna talk about it more later because of that last scene, but I really liked this edition more than the book. Dare I say, I enjoyed it a lot more. The book, I was reading it, and as we know, you know, they go to the party. It's at Magnus's house. They walk in. The Malik wasn't like crazy in the book, their first meeting, because they go in and Magnus is like talking to Clary and da-da-da-da-da. And the only Malik that we get is when, what's his name, Magnus is like, oh, and you call me, and then he like, Alec just stands there and Jace has to take him out. That's all we get in the book with their first meeting. But in the show, wow, it was, I will talk about that in a minute because it was crazy. All right, so they go and they talk to Magnus, and then Jace has the ruby, and so it was really funny when he like holds it up and then Magnus goes to reach for it, and Jace is like, no, no, no. And Magnus is like, his face is just like, he looked really pouty, and it was really funny. I am just loving how Harry is delivering all of Magnus's lines. Like, he's doing it so well. Like, it's you know, just so good, so good. Oh my God, watch her pull a gem. I'm not even gonna get into that right now. Nope. Okay, so this is another thing that I wanted to quickly say. The book, this scene, and the book scene of this episode and the show were very different. But like I said, I kind of like the show better, the scene. But they were each very good in their own way. And so I really, just like they were saying with all the twists and turns, but keeping it the same. Because technically, in the book, she goes to Magnus, she doesn't get her memories back. Technically in the show, she goes to Magnus, doesn't get her memories back. So I mean, they got there just differently. Yeah, so moving on, everything after that point, when they meet Magnus and he goes through that portal and Clary gets the button, everything after that is different than in the book, and it was just a crazy roller coaster, and I loved it. So let us continue. Oh, actually, before that scene ends, there's the part where Magnus gets a first look at Alec, and it was beautiful. It was so wonderful. So there's a circle member coming, and he's going to attack them, and so all of a sudden you see like a whooshum. It was a horrible sound effect for a bow, for an arrow. But yeah, Alec shoots his arrow at the circle member and kills him. And so he walks over and walks past Magnus, and Magnus is like, who are you? I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. All right, so then right after that, Magnus goes through the portal and they're all walking out, and poor Clary is like limping, this poor girl. And Izzy is just like, hold up, yo, she is tired, like give her a second to walk. And Alec is just being Alec and just being annoying. And so they kind of fight. Clary and Alec fight a little bit, and I know it's not gonna last, but I'm just really enjoying their little fights. It's kind of hilarious right now. And so all of Alec's faces, he just like, she starts talking, he's like, God, like really with this one? Ooh, and then we got another, I don't know, this is the Parabatai bond. I don't remember this in the book. I don't think it's a thing. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting. Anyways, when they were going to track Magnus with a button, and Jace is like, I can't do this alone. Come here, homie. And so, they you know, do their hand thing, and then you starts magically doing whatever, and they're like staring into each other's eyes like very intimately. And Clary's like, I don't know about you, but this whole Parabatai thing is really intimate. And he's like, oh, you don't know the half of it. So then we go back to Jace and Alec, and they're doing their intense eye stare, and the entire time I'm thinking, poor Alec is like very in close quarters with Jace, very intimate, and you can just tell like he is just dying inside. And or I mean for the book readers, because we know, but oh man, that's all I could think about when I was watching that. Not besides like the whole Parabatai thing, but that Alec, what he must have been feeling when they were doing that. And then Jace is like, oh, okay, I got it, and he walks off, and then the camera lingers on Alec's face for a second, and he looks like he needs to like get himself out of it because he was like just really into it. And so I was like, oh, Alec. Okay, and then so we get to the best part of this entire episode with Magnus. And so what happens? They go to that warehouse, and Magnus is there, and he's fighting all these circle members, and what's it called? Fast forward to Magnus, and he's fighting that circle member who's like, oh yeah, we killed your Elias friend. And then oh my God, Magnus's eyes, So cool. Looked so cool. Like, it wasn't even, you wouldn't even be able to tell it was like TV effects. It looked really cool. I am a sucker for awesome like effects, so that looked pretty awesome. And then so he's like doing his warlock thing and he fights him. That was like airbending there. But he fights him, and then Alec comes out of nowhere and shoots the arrow at the circle member and pretty much saves Magnus again. And so the first things that they say to each other, he's like, well done. He's like, more like medium rare. I'm like, oh my God. The first words that these two lovers are gonna say. That was just great. And then of course, when Magnus and Alec, like, they're first, he's like, oh, I don't think we've been properly introduced. Like, I'm Magnus. And Alec is oh my God, I was squealing so much during the scene. It was insane. And so, you know how they said that they didn't want Alec to smile until the first time that he saw Magnus. And this was kind of true, because every time he smiled before that, it was like a half smile. It was like a smirk. It was like he was reacting to something funny that Jay said or whatever. So he wasn't really smiling his big, beautiful smile. He has a really nice smile. So technically it's kind of true, because he didn't smile that big until he saw Magnus. And it was amazing. So it's only at this time when they're alone, technically, that Alec really like smiles very brightly, and he starts stuttering. He's like, we should, yeah, okay. So, oh, Alec. Because seriously, after that, Magnus obviously senses something, and so he kept flirting with him really hard. Oh my God, so many double meanings and everything that Magnus was telling Alec. It was hilarious. Like when they go to the thing and he's talking about, I don't know, sloppy, I don't know what, and then he flips the table with his foot and he looks right at Alec, and Alec is just like, and walks away. It was so great. And it happened so many times, like when he was talking, just that part with the table thing, and then when they go and they're about to summon the demon, and then he's like, oh yeah, I've never seen a better artist than like Michelangelo or whatever, and he was great in bed, might I add. And he like, not so subtly, like at all, looks at Alec like, I'm talking to you, bro. Oh my God, that scene made me laugh so much. Izzy was just all for it. She's like, is getting a kick out of Magnus. Poor Jace is just like, what is he talking about, man? And Alec is just like, I don't know. Alright, so yeah, with that pretty boy scene and how Magnus was saying, oh yeah, get your group together, pretty boy. And Jace, he's like, well, okay. And so he's like, no. I wasn't talking to you. It's talking to you. And Alec is just smiling so much, and it's so great. All right, so then right after that is the beginning of my favorite scene in this entire episode. So I really like how they incorporated Clary's artistic abilities into this part of the episode when Magnus gives her the chalks and is like, oh, you're the one that needs to make this portal or whatever. And she's like, all right, I got this. Oh, and then Jace had to put that rune on her, and her scream. And I don't think that the scream was recorded at that time, because her scream sounded a lot more like you would need to like move more than what she did, because she kind of just like opened her mouth a little. But oh, that was a really cringe-worthy scream, not in a bad way. It was like, oh my God, that sounds like it really hurts. Like, ow. I was thinking this yesterday that Izzy might be like I don't know, my favorite character. I don't know if I don't even know who's my favorite character anymore, because they're all just so perfect. I don't even know. But Izzy, I would just love to be her friend, like Emerald and Izzy, because they're both wonderful. But Izzy, because you know, she's the diva. She likes attention. She likes being the center of attention. She likes all that. But then she also knows when to like back off and to let other people shine, and to let other people know that they are also beautiful and that they can be confident. And she's so there for her brother, and it's so, I love it so much. Like when she was what's it called in the beginning, when Clay was standing there, and then she's standing in the back like looking at Jace like, look how good I made her look. And then just like whenever Magnus was saying a joke or something and she's laughing in the background, like she knows how to be that friend, and it's just, I love it. I wrote notes, and then like I got more ideas, and I wrote extra notes afterwards, and I just don't know what to do with myself. Okay, so then it was really one thing that I'm such an idiot. When they were all holding hands to do the last scene, and it was like dun dun dun, and so Magnus grabbed Alex, and Alec grabbed Jace, and Jace got what's it called, Clary. And what was going through my head was, you know, Magnus loves Alec, Alex loves Jace, Jace is falling in love with Clary. I'm like, I love you. I love you. I don't know why Barney came to mind, but it was just that, yeah, I'm weird. All right, so another thing that I really liked that Harry did for Magnus was when he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna need to do some kind of payment, and Jace is like, what do you mean, what kind of payment or whatever, and he's like, we shall see. That little head movement that he did, and then when we get a wider shot of like his like up to his knees and up and whatever, and he's like shaking his hips a little bit before they like do everything, I was like, oh my god. So good. And then I like the whole Latin that Harry or that Magnus had to say. That was pretty cool. And then what's it called? Then we got to see the necklace in action. We got to see it pulsing. Okay, so the part of the episode that was my favorite episode, and that I'm not even gonna lie here, I teared up a little bit, was this whole scene with the memory demon. And oh, that's not in the book either. Like Magnus is just like, in the books he's like, oh, I can't help you, I don't have your memories anymore, I can, whatever. And so I liked what they did in the show with like, oh, I fed them to a memory demon so we can get them back somehow, and it made it just more actiony than the book scene, which wasn't very it was anticlimactic. And so we get this memory demon, and so they have to fight it. And so what's his name? Magnus is like, oh, it needs a memory of the person that we love the most. And so I was not expecting this at all. Like I thought they were just gonna do that, and it was gonna like talk to Clary maybe, and that was gonna be the end of it. I was not expecting this at all. Like I said, so Izzy, she thinks of her brother, and I was like, oh my god, so Izzy loves her brother the most, and it's just, we got a very nice little quick clip of him smiling really big. He was probably smiling at Izzy, and so that's her memory. And then Clary's was of her mom, and then it was going to probably be Jace. And Jace, I saw something on Tumblr, and it was like, oh yeah, that Jace probably would have been himself. That was funny. So for some reason, we went from Izzy to Clary to Alec, and I would think it would like gone in a circle or something, but no, we switched, went to Alec. And so I'm like, and so the thing happens, and the person that he loves the most is Jace. And so he freaks out. And so here I'm thinking, I'm like, sweetheart, why are you freaking out so much? He's your parabatai. Of course you love him. Why, that wouldn't be like something weird. But then I went on Tumblr, and that was kind of ignorant of me to think, because I was reading a lot of things that people were saying, and they're like, oh yeah, that you don't know how it feels when you like are in love with your best friend, and then anything happens to maybe get you outed and you freak out. So so Alec wasn't thinking rationally when he saw that. He thought, oh, maybe this demon is going to like out me or whatever, for lack of a better term. And so it's perfectly rational for him to have freaked out, because I mean, it just makes sense. Because that was totally my thought first. So I'm like, it's okay, you can brush it off as that like he's your parabatai. But if put yourself in Alec's shoes, and just any instance of him expressing his true feelings and love for Alec or for Jace, it's perfectly rational why he would have freaked out that way. And it would have like deterred his entire existence if like this was to come out. And so he, you know, breaks the bond or whatever, and this is a 6'3" strong, you know, powerful shadow hunter, and he basically like goes to a corner to like cower, and it was like really sad to watch. And then right before that, Jace, he sees that, and then he looks at Alec, but his face when he was looking at him, it wasn't really like how Alec took it. His face looked like loving concern, like he was confused, but he wasn't mad at Alec, and Alec totally took his look a different way, which is why he freaked out. Oh, but you guys, that part just got me right in the heartstrings, because you could see how much Matt's doing a great job. You could just see how much how scared he was, and how you could just see it, and it was amazing. All right, so then the bond is broken, and the demon is like flying around, and it goes after Alec, and so Jace is like, oh heck no, and so he pushes Alec out of the way, and the demon grabs Jace. And so I'm like, and so it takes him, and then Alec and Izzy are like trying to grab him, and then Clary was amazing killing that demon. I hated how everybody's like, oh, that she, you know, shouldn't be able to do that. Like if she, okay, to be completely honest, if she was a guy, nobody would be saying that. You'd be saying, oh, it's in his blood. Of course he would know how to fight like a true shadow hunter. So I'm just gonna put that out there. But yeah, so they finally get Jace down. What's her name? Clary kills the demon, which is pretty much what happens in the book. Like I said, she goes to Magnus, doesn't get her memories back. Same thing happens here. It was just a little bit different, and it was so much better than the book. in my opinion. So she saves Jace, and then they have the little Clace moment, and oh my god. And so when Jace is still knocked out, Magnus, he's like, oh, I don't know, does he usually lay there without moving or whatever? God, and it was such a serious moment, and I started laughing so hard. It was just a perfect line. And another thing that made me, like, my feels explode was when Alec was like, Jace, get up, like, no, you're not gonna die because of what I just did. And so he, like, I don't know if I know people noticed it, but like he went to go grab him, but then he like stopped himself, like he wasn't worthy of like touching him, and then he gets up and he just like not wanting to touch him, and he walks off. I'm like, oh my god, that was so subtle yet so like impactful that he did that, and I wanted to cry. So then Alec walks away, and then the Clace moment, whatever, and then Magnus notices this, and he walks to Alec, and he's like, you know, Alec, you don't have anything to be ashamed of. And Alec is just like, the way Matt said, I don't know what you're talking about, he sounded so angry. And can you even imagine how much Alec like hates himself right now? He almost got the person that he loves the most killed because of the fact that he loves him so much and he didn't want everybody to know. Like, can you even imagine what's going through his head right now and his heart? Like, he's so hurt, and he probably hates himself at this point. And so Magnus is like, oh yeah, you will, and then he walks off. And up until this point, I had seen something on Tumblr that Magnus probably didn't know that he was outed yet, so which is why he was flirting with him so not so subtle. So then Magnus finally realizes at this point that he's not out, and so that he's gonna tone it down a little bit, and that he's not gonna, you know, pressure Alec anymore, or not anymore, but like not be so insensitive about it. And so that's the kind of Malik that I like to see. It was just it was like intimate and very soft, and I don't even know what adjective to use, but it was very nice. And then Izzy comes and tries to like comfort him, but then he walks away, and so we don't even know where he went at this point. I'm sure he's like just sulking like crazy, and I just okay. And let me just say this, Memory Demon, is this some kind of foreshadowing for City of Heavenly Fire? Because if it is, okay, so then that concluded my favorite scene of the episode. It was so good, not expecting it at all, and it was amazing. I watched it twice. I watched it 3 or 4 times. It was so good. I loved it. The only thing I have to say about that last Clay scene is pretty much that Dom looked amazing in that sweater. Looked pretty hot. Not even gonna lie. And then Simon goes back to the hotel, so we're gonna get a little bit more vampire-iness pretty soon probably. And yeah, I think that's it. I absolutely adored this episode. It was amazing. I can't even imagine what they're gonna do like later on in other episodes. Like, it's gonna be insane. So please, please, please let me know your thoughts. What was your favorite part? Was that your favorite part? Was the Malik satisfactory for you? It was amazing. Just all the huge. Leave your comments down below, and I will talk to you when you do. Oh, and quick thing, I keep saying that I'm gonna do a Q&A, and I haven't yet, but I'm going to tomorrow because I'm out of school and I got time. So if you have any questions for me, because I know I got a few subscribers this week more recently, so if you have any questions for me, leave them down below and I will answer them tomorrow. And along with the Q&A, I also have like a Shadowhuntery Cassandra Clare announcement that I think might be fun for all of us. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!